now. No Reinhardt to be found. Everything else still 3-3, pretty standard.
And no Kaiser.
No Kaiser still, but I mean, there's a Winston now, so it makes sense at least in my mind and what my preconceived notions are. This makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense for what we expected. Meanwhile, for GC Busan Wave, we're wondering, okay, are they going to do anything tricky, anything crazy
I mean,
with
Free might be playing Ana here to look for a sleep off the gate, but it sees no one's holding close, so they're just going to swap to D.Va. It's going to be a 3-3 here. Ion on the Reinhardt, though, as opposed to Winston.
So again, you have the Winston versus Orion. What is the difference in what both teams are looking for here?
I mean, point presence is the most important thing for GC Busan Wave here, utilizing this Ryan. As we see the early engage, the clean damage from Villeneuve doing so much.
Already heavy damage, and it works out so well for O2. They just DMAC free immediately, and it's like flipping a switch, putting a tape on rewind. Everyone from GC Busan Wave goes, huh, D.Va's DMAC'd. I guess we back out for a little bit, don't we?
Well, they have to sit here and try to spam, get free back to that mech, while O2 Blast, look how they're hiding. Look how Villeneuve is just using the LOS of this cart, holding close to the choke, making sure you're not feeding mech to free.
And this is very interesting, where it's taken a while for Free to get back into mech, and you look at the time, it's about a minute burned off the clock already for O2 Blast. Look at this, Villeneuve knows exactly where they're at, just going to hop in, get a little bit of extra cleave, and he's almost in the good zone where one good dive could get him the rest of Primal.
And it looks like GC Busan are going to be rotating all the way to the Mega, potentially can go back up to this high ground, but they want to take the fight to point. This is the power of the Ryan versus the Winston, is you want to try to sustain on point, grab a pick, pressure this Winston out, and just use your shield.
And O2 Blast is doing a really good job of that. You take a look at the poke war right now, for the most part, no one's getting chunked too hard. Yeah, Arrow takes a little bit there. Joy eats a little bit, but he's so close to Transcendence.
Look at Free, he's on Joy.
Joy can't get away. He was so close to Transcendent. Now that's a big swing in the fight, but Fielder falls. O2 Blast able to equalize, but the big part there, Villeneuve went in for the dive to get the rest of Primal, couldn't get it in the moment, and now it's going to get real ugly for O2 Blast. They don't have the manpower to defend.
Well, it is going to be over for them now. They won't have that Primal, that is correct. That we see this a lot. Actually, we've seen it in the Overwatch League too, where Divas are hunting for Zenyatta's on the high ground. If they get isolated from their team, that's what happened to Joy. Joy was playing that high ground. He was split from his team. Rain wasn't there with him. Arrow wasn't there with them. They were able to give him the bubble, but no armor pack out in time, so they didn't have that peel they needed. They were playing too split, and that's one of the risks of having your Zen split from your team when there's a Diva on the field.
So GC Busan Wave moving forward. They're very close to double support out here. They get played a little bit slower. They grab that free on top. Getting knocked a little bit down, and now Villeneuve going to dive in deep. Primal Rage ready. His goal here, just disrupt what could be a very good fight for GC Busan Wave. But GC Busan, they just back out a bit. They're not letting Villain disrupt him the way they want to. He's getting really low. Has to be careful not to die. If he falls, that would be it. But GC Busan Wave, they're completely healthy right now. Now it's time for them to strike. Graviton coming out. The bomb from O2 Blast, though, denying it all. Krong off the setup from Proper.
And but then Rain investing the beat afterwards. Rain decides to invest beat after the fight is won, but that wasn't even a boop. There wasn't a displacement of shield. They just broke Ion's shield there. O2 Blast just focused the shield extremely heavily. Great grab from Proper. Edison tried to use that counter guard to keep him away, but Rain investing the beat post-fight. Not very good ult usage.
Not in the least, and I think it's because O2 Blast, they were feeling very much under the gun there. They didn't realize the self-destruct would do that much, but as a result, they're definitely weaker than they should be here.
Oh, and that spot for Krong was so nasty. He was sitting above on top of the high ground, just trying to poke Free, which he does off the high ground, but now GC Busan Wave here. They have the Shatter, they have the beat, they have some tools in their toolkit. It's relatively even. It's in fact an advantage for them if they can get this off.
Iron's holding on to the Shatter. Look at the shield pressure going in. They're just trying to focus on Villain's shield. No! He sees that there's opening.
That's a 3-man.
Drops the Shatter to the right. Doesn't have to worry about the shield when the shield's not covering anyone.
Gets the charge on the Rain, too. Great Shatter. Just seeing that little gap. There's the grab out from Proper. Able to DMAC Free, but that will be it. The beat was out. GC Busan Wave lives, and this should be a cap.
And you think about it for Villain. Villain was, you saw more movement coming out of him there as well. Not entirely behind his team, just because I think he was feeling so much under pressure. If you took a look at the shield battle there, his shield was getting pretty close to breaking anyways, so when you're under that much pressure, sometimes you move in a way that opportunities happen, and that's what we saw there.
I mean, we're really seeing these teams, the value of that shield, the value of barrier health here. There's a lot of focus on the Ryan shield to set up your engagements, to set up your own Shatter, and both teams are doing it excellently, but right there, GC Busan Wave just had the better exchange. They just had the much better exchange. Ion was just able to sneak it past the Villain shield right there.
So GC Busan Wave definitely looking much stronger here in the attack, although in fairness to O2, I thought their defense was pretty good, and you think about how close it was to being successful. Villain, about 5% off from Primal when he fell. Joy, 5% off from Transcendence. These are very small margins of where if things had just gone very slightly differently, like a little bit of damage here or there, O2 Blast could have had a much longer hold, so it was on a razor's edge.
I mean, it was extremely close there, but that's 3-3 for you, where the composition, it allows you to make a lot of mistakes when you're not playing mirrors, when you're not versing mirrors, but when you're up against a mirror, against another 3-3 composition, everything is based around your ult economy and how you're able to get off an engagement or back away from an engagement or set up an engagement with your ults. And so if you're just a little bit, as the term would say, a freckle past a hair, you know, like you're just you've never heard that? That's a very southern saying.
Apparently.
So it's also an Ed and Nettie, if you've ever seen that show.
I avoided Ed and Nettie. That was beyond my time.
Well, there you go. But
I've just offended like half the chat,
that's
sure.
I mean, I don't know exactly what the age group might be, but that it is extremely close. It's on the razor's edge in terms of how ults can be used and just set up and defensively and engaging.
Well, one thing that's going to be interesting here, GC Busan Wave going to be putting their faith in Edison, which means that McCree is the very obvious dive target for O2.
I mean, and especially, but Villeneuve is playing this Reinhardt, just putting up the barrier, and Ion's on a counter Reinhardt, so not a lot of dive available really for O2.
And okay, it's gonna be Lucio the chance. Okay, that's why you don't challenge
Rain?
McCree. That's Lucio. That was an int if they ever saw one.
I mean, I think he was expecting Krong there to have the Matrix available for him, or even a bubble. Neither was able to hit him in time because he saw Krong on the other side trying to get that Matrix off, but wasn't. Edison able to get that pick. There's the pressure. Proper gonna pick up. They're gonna pick up the light there. So actually, O2 are in a good position.
It's still working out, even with Lucio dying that early. O2 Blast still had so much presence on the point that it doesn't really matter in the end. This is still gonna be a very, very quick take, and now the most important part about that.
O2 are gonna try to snowball.
Yeah, they're just gonna roll in.
But they don't have Villeneuve. There is no Villeneuve on this field, and Edison will be up. They're going to be up against 6. I think they're going to try to play it slow now. They're not actually going to pressure the point. They're going to see get Proper's grab up here. He does have this grab advantage once again. He's moving incredibly quickly. Arrow as well with the rally advantage. So O2 can sort of look for the sustain, pop the rally, and wait for Villeneuve to get there. He is there now.
O2 just going to swarm onto the point. Rally use, Transcendence in reserve. GC Busan going to be having a lot on their table too. But here's the thing, they've already given up 2 ticks. They got to go into point. They lose Edison. Edison focused down immediately their big gun. Now they transcend, but it's nothing but panic as O2 Blast in firm control. Graviton used. They get free right after, and it's all going rough as Villain's going to drop the hammer to finish things off.
And that is an extremely quick take for O2, beating GC Busan Waves time. And that's sort of the risk you run when you have Edison on the McCree. Proper had a free grab. He was able to walk in, just look for the center mass of the rest of GC Busan Wave there. And also, he had to play high ground. They don't have point presence because they don't have D.Va. They don't have anyone to contest to bounce off and up.
Well, you said the key part there, which is point presence, that even before Edison fell, right, they gave up control of contesting the point. They didn't want to put anyone down there. They get focus fired. So even before they got into their attempt to defend, they'd already lost 2 ticks on the point. That is not ideal. And I mean, frankly, just a bit of a weakness running McCree there, unless the McCree is simply on fire and able to capitalize and pick someone off in about the first 5 seconds of a fight.
I mean, you have to play slow when you're playing McCree. When you're playing a character that's hit scan oriented, and also like Sombra in a way, McCree is sort of like Sombra in a way where you can't play fast because the value of him is the damage he puts out over time onto those barriers, onto those heroes, maybe catching people in the back line, setting up a high noon where he's split from the team. And so you actually can't engage aggressively because your front line will always lose the war, especially when you have a debuff because you can't eat that spam ban.
It was a very tough situation that GC Busan Wave put themselves in, and for what it's worth, this is still a very winnable game. 4 minutes, 30 seconds thereabouts in the time bank, so not too bad. But the problem is O2 Blast does have a fairly significant 2-minute lead, so they're going to need to do better both on offense and defense here.
Villeneuve once again on the defense for O2 Blast, running the Winston. So we're going to see him holding close, trying to get this cleave value. And we can't be, and once again, we don't want Joy to be cut out early. That's really O2's Blast objective. Their defense is going fine until Joy went down early.
Rain creeping on the outskirts here, getting a little bit of damage in. O2 Blast, though, able to... they're holding here in the defense. With GC Busan Wave, they're able to rotate around pretty easily.
And rotations aren't... I mean, they can rotate, but rotations aren't important. Point presence is important. As Villeneuve getting pressured out, making sure to back up. But Arrow is playing with Joy, making sure that Free can't push Joy for free.
A lot of poke damage going down on both sides. O2 Blast having the back a little bit. Both Arrow and Rain got a bit low. Now they dive on in. They're looking for Delight. They're going to pick him off. Krong chasing him right down. And off that pickoff, O2 Blast about to get a whole lot more aggressive here. And this is bad for GC Busan Wave.
GC Busan Wave, they're stuck in Mega Pack. They can't touch point. They're down a player.
Yeah, they're down. They're just getting contained. They're saying, we don't even have to finish you off right now. We just have to buy time. You can't do anything. They're going to wait till the last possible minute to dive in and finish off their prey. Now, they have to be careful not to overextend, but it's a rough spot for GC Busan Wave, especially where they can look to pick off the stragglers who tries to get back to the fight.
is going to be Delight moving through this choke. I'm assuming O2 Blast are going to be trying to look for the engage. They're kind of split because GC Busan Wave recognizes this and is trying to pressure the point while Delight comes in.
Yeah, right now they're just keeping them split as best they can. O2 Blast, Krong getting pretty low, gets the high ground though, has a decent spot to lay down, and it's a lot of shield pressure coming in from O2 Blast right now.
However, Edison, 90% on the grab. The support ult as well because of all the damage GC Busan Wave have been taking. Daydream Fielder ahead overall in the support ult, so they can look for an early engagement.
And they just got the grab up here, and they focused down Krong. Krong was a little bit too aggressive this time around. Gonna get D-maxed early in the fight, and now for GC Busan.
Proper went so deep there, ZP. He jumped into the middle of GC Busan.
He was trying to equalize. He was trying to equalize and be the hero, and instead, he just adds another body to the pile. GC Busan Wave, off of this, going to get a very clean engagement. Here's the most important part. Because O2 Blast lost those people early, look at what GC Busan Wave had to use to win that fight. Absolutely nothing.
No, they didn't, but they're going to be swapping Villanyo, O2 Blast, 2 over that Ryan, so they won't have Shatter advantage, but the rest of the ult's relatively equal, though. That was a long fight for first. It's going to be a 5 versus 6 ult advantage, because Ion should be able to get this up in this fight. So it's all about which team will engage first, and which will have the better defensive ults, the better counter engage.
The GC Busan Wave, they take it a little bit slow, go up to the high ground, and Edison, the camera's on him, and it's for good reason. He's looking for the grab to set this up to make things easy. Doesn't want to get hit by the D.Va Eat early. Self-destruct. Got to get in here for O2 Blast, right in the middle. Goes off. O2 Blast gets very little. GC Busan, grab of their own. Coming out, and they use it. They get Arrow. They get Villanyo right off the self-destruct, and this is exactly what GC Busan Wave needs.
And that was the better counter engage right there. Like I talked about, they were able to survive the grab, keep their barriers up, strong beat from Daydream, and then counter grab from Edison, break the barriers, get rid of Arrow, and their D-Bomb set up with the Shadow from Ion.
And they're looking about a 2.5-minute offense here, and they get it. They prevent O2 Blast from going into a delay cycle, which could have eaten another 30, 40 seconds off the clock. You saw the Doomfist coming in there. And for most people, I'd say it's emergency, but O2 likes running Doomfist in non-emergency situations.
Well, Proper, I mean, he's a DPS player at heart. He's a damage dealer at heart. So all those damage dealers, the DPS players, are stuck on the Zarya rolls, on those Brigitte rolls. So they don't want to be playing them necessarily. They're going to be trying to swap them when they can. And Doomfist is not great, but all right for stall because you can get to the point fast. You can self-sustain a little bit with those shields. So now, just waiting here for the next offense of O2 Blast, who has a pretty significant time bank.
They definitely have a lead here. So you think about the overall narrative of the map. GC Busan Wave, they took care of business on the attack. They had a much quicker attack. They made it 2.5 minutes, much quicker than their first attack. Now they need to make up some time here on the defense, where ideally they need to have a few rotations of first point holds, and already what we're seeing is that they are making adjustments, right? What do you see Edison coming out on here? Zarya, not McCree.
Yeah, McCree, especially on Assault, where you don't have a lot of room to work with when you're on defense in particular, where you're trying to defend points rather than take advantage around the points. You don't have as much room, don't have as much breathing room to work with. While on offense, if you're playing the McCree, you're fine to rotate around a bit and poke. Defense, you don't necessarily have, as long as the offense is smart, you don't have that breathing room. You don't have that luxury.
So, a little bit early aggression there, coming out from Free, but going the hop on out, just scouting, making sure that there's nothing crazy going on. O2 Blast, it looks like they're going to go for a rotation around the left.
Yeah, just going to be moving left because, I mean, there's no... But once again, Joy so low. So much damage coming out from the span of GC Busan, and here comes the engage. The bubbles out onto Ion, picking up Arrow.
This is where you get your advantage. This is where you get more ult charge. You just recklessly chase this down, but they don't go past there. Part of the reason, too, you go past there, you open yourself up to weird things like environmental deaths. I think it was good that they held back.
No, I mean, you don't want to chase deep into spawn, especially when you're holding first here for Volskaya, because the spawn advantage is not working in your favor. But great pick onto Joy early. You see this high ground hold from GC Busan, the spam damage on top with Edison, just doing so much to catch Joy in that rotation.
O2 setting up here once more, same position, but this time Joy a little bit more well protected. But you see the D.Va pressure coming in from the back line. It's gonna be a lot of damage coming in from Free. They're not really looking at him.
So much pressure on
Ion. Ion just gonna fall super early on here. This is much better for O2, and now they start getting good presence on the point.
I mean, they pretty much own the point right now. Proper, he already has grab as well. Edison so low, gonna be caught. The Discord Orb was on him, ensuring they could finish him off. No energy for you as Proper chases with the rest of O2 Blast. They're gonna be trying to pick up these frags.
Yeah, they're trying to go for maximum stagger here. I don't think they're gonna get it, but they're at least making GC Busan feel that they have to hold back and they're already getting a bit of high ground positioning here. Just, again, prepping for the next fight.
And this is all on Proper's grab if he can get it up first. Even if they force the trance early, as long as they can win that post fight, as long as they can get into the fight with their counter trance with Joy before Edison gets his, this is a really good engagement for O2.
O2 getting ready to move on in. Fielder in the back. And right now, we just wait to look at the grab coming in from Proper. The most important fight winner here for O2 Blast.
Oh, they could look like they're taking the risk where they're not going to be setting up the grab very early. There's the bomb there, waiting for the combo.
And they get it. Ion down to self-destruct right after. Exactly what O2 Blast was looking for. And now it's just simple cleanup off the grab. GC Busan Wave caught off guard. And it's looking like O2 Blast should be able to get through here with a very quick attack. It's a quicker attack than even GC Busan's last.
It is, and Edison still doesn't have grab. Daydream still staying on this Lucio, 84% to the beat. The beat is going to be their saving grace for GC Busan.
Busan able to get back out. They can't get back to the point. They have no more room to give. You have to sacrifice bodies now. That's what they're doing.
Grab
but how long?
Bye-bye, bye-bye, grab.
It took so long. And then it's still eaten in the end. Very unfortunate. But also, decent delay here from GC Busan. Actually, I said that it was a quicker attack from O2 Blast. The last two attacks from both teams, about equivalent with that extra delay coming in. So the problem is for GC Busan is that you look at the time, they have to do something to make this up, and it's probably going to have to come from their next defense, assuming that they have a decent attack here.
I mean, the time bank advantage for O2 is already so large that even if their attacks in terms of length were equal, like you talked about, they're still going to have such an advantage because of their overall time bank difference. And Edison is just being hard outbuilt by Proper.
Yeah.
Hard outbuilt. He had, I mean, we saw the value of Edison on them, McCree on control, but it seems like he just doesn't, he's not matching up so far in the Zarya.
Well, it's one of those things as well where I think part of the reason why you might see GC Busan Wave try and move Edison over to McCree is that I'm sure that this is something that they realize, right? That maybe Zarya-wise, he doesn't always have the best games, and they would prefer him to run something he's more comfortable on, like McCree. The problem is that the meta kind of stands in your face and says, nah, we're not going to let you get away for that. So it's kind of a team struggling against the age-old adage of, do you want to play what is the absolute best meta-wise, or do you want to play at what your guys are good at? And unfortunately for GC Busan Wave, the meta option just a bit stronger.
It is indeed O2 Blast now. On the defense, GC Busan Wave, you know, we're getting close to the legendary, potentially 8-8, you know, one of those 8-8 assaults.
Yeah.
Where both teams capped 8 times.
You know what? That could very
it's
well
possible.
be
It's been a while. It's been a work of legend. We haven't seen it, but
it might be a thing.
We're already
there.
on 4-4.
We are, and it's going to come down what GC Busan Wave does here on the attack. O2 Blast giving them a lot more space this time, saying, all right, you guys can rotate to the right. We'll fight you when you get to the point.
I mean, neither team has to look for strong engagement, and since Villeneuve was
the fake out.
Oh, it is a strong rotation here for GC Busan. They didn't necessarily gain a lot from it, though.
Yeah, I think they were just hoping to catch something off guard, but ooh, they take a lot of poke damage coming in. O2 Blast, big advantage early on, and yet Villeneuve gets taken down, and suddenly it goes the other way. GC Busan Wave was low, but O2 Blast unable to finish off the pickoffs, and now Krong about to get DMAC. GC Busan Wave, this is going to be a very, very quick point.
That's just the domino effect of losing Villeneuve. Villeneuve, they take their rotation. He can test them early, and then despite being low, it seems like there was a mixed call for O2 Blast because Villeneuve was still staying very far forward, but the rest of his team wasn't up with him. It didn't seem like they were looking ready to push. He needed to back up. He was too low. The resources were already used to keep him alive.
Interesting, the call for O2 Blast might have been the dive, and I think Villeneuve might have had the right of it because people in GC Busan Wave got really low at the beginning.
It was definitely some mixed initiative that we saw for O2 Blast. Now GC Busan taking that first extremely quickly, and more importantly that their support ults are much better, so they can look for an early engage.
Oh, not anymore.
Not
Fielder
anymore.
gets picked. Proper putting O2 Blast back in the driver's seat here. What an important early pickoff.
That is probably the best early pickoff because Fielder is coming up on that trance. So much utility the Zenyatta gives to the 3-3. So Proper, once again, coming up huge. He has his grab as well. So not only is that important for the delay for that first push, that snowball push for GC Busan, but if he can use this grab with Krong, they can negate some of this huge support ult advantage GC Busan has.
O2 Blast holding on to the grab here, Proper, trying to size up the competition. Shatter gonna be coming down, grab moving, picks up a whole lot into it, self-destruct, gonna be layered right on top of it, is gonna get anything right off. It does, but free gets a little bit more for GC Busan Wave. The problem is they're on the attack, they've lost to Reinhardt. It's gonna be very hard to get strong point presence without the Rein.
And right now, it's all about catching Proper. He's high energy. O2 Blast, they're gonna have to play split. They have to give up ticks. Villeneuve coming back. Joy so close to this trance.
and now O2 Blast gets to come back out. There, Ryan still very much alive. Brigida focusing on the Edison. O2 Blast, stronger point presence here. 2 ticks haven't given up, but now you take a look. Ion back into the fight, a little bit more even. Barrier used from GC Busan Wave, but they're getting pushed back. They need to keep someone at the point now at all times. We are in overtime, and Daydream gonna fall proper. Hold down to grab, gonna drop it. Pulling in a whole lot, and O2 Blast looking like they're gonna hold this one off, but it's not without getting bloodied a little bit. GC Busan Wave still with a win condition as we go into what could be the final round.
70% on that point, capping first. I mean, they didn't have a huge amount of time in their bank either, moving into that offense. So getting 70% onto second point cap, Volskaya, traditionally a very hard map to full cap, unless you're doing that snowball push. So pretty well played for them.
So we know here that we're not going to get the 8-8 apocalypse. It will be ending here one way or another. But you take a look at for GC Busan, this is still going to be a pretty rough defense where you think about the trends of the match. They've really been unable to hold off O2 Blast for more than about 2.5 minutes here. Now they need to hold them off for 4 minutes and not a full hold on point B, but 70%. So GC Busan Wave is going to have to show a much stronger defensive setup here than what we've seen from them all map long to make it possible to bring this back.
And what we've seen on their defenses so far is that Ion, he's being hard focused by O2 Blast. They're putting a lot of their resources, investing them in getting rid of Ion, getting rid of that barrier, putting the damage into him. GC Busan Wave need to be recognizing this. They need to either be engaging first, mitigating some of that spam damage, mitigating the pressure onto Ion and pressuring onto someone else for O2 Blast, or saving their cooldowns for the right moment when O2 Blast overextends onto Ion, and then they just counter engage. They haven't had a great job of doing either yet.
So we'll see if GC Busan is able to make the necessary improvements. O2 Blast, I think for them, you don't really have to change anything up.
No, O2, they should be just rolling the standard strategy they have been so far, how they've been pushing until they get stymied, until they get swapped off, until they get essentially forced to fix it.
And for them, they're just going to take the same approach that they did before. Left approach on the ground, not even trying to be sneaky, just immediately bringing the fight to GC Busan. GC Busan willing to take the fight.
Ion,
and now they dive in. They dive in really deeply. They get Ion. They immediately remove Ion from the fight, and it's so clean that it makes it really tough now for GC Busan, because not only are they losing this fight in a very decisive fashion.
Everyone from O2 lives as well.
Yeah.
It's an easy snowball push, and you saw there, right there, they forced the bubble. They forced the bubble from Edison on to Ion, and then engage once the armor pack is gone.
And look, they're already moving forward. They know that they have an edge here, and they're just going to go in as quick as possible because they don't want GC Busan Wave to get any sort of advantage, and just the rally alone could be enough to roll into
the rally alone will give you the sustain they need to get the Shatter up, to get this grab up, maybe even the combo for O2 Blast. They need to be looking very aggressively for this push.
And now they're waiting, but they're not waiting long. Rally to me exactly as expected. They dive in the GC Busan Wave. They're not wasting any time, and now they look for Ion again. Ion gonna fall immediately, and O2 Blast off the snowball, easily getting point B. That is going to be the map. We're gonna go 2-1. It's GC Busan Wave, where, don't forget, this match did start with GC Busan Wave taking control, and yet now the paradigm has shifted. It's O2 Blast, one map away from getting their first win here in Contenders Korea 2019.
O2 Blast looking very, very strong. Yeah. On non-control maps so far. Looking strong on non-control maps, and the focus onto Ion is so key. And on top of proper just being a playmaker. Yeah. A huge playmaker for O2 Blast right now.
Yeah, and also, let's see. I'm taking a look. We made a deal so we can turn the light back on.
That's right. We need to turn the light back on before they see Spooky.
Yes.
Spooky cast.
Yeah, exactly.
There
okay.
it is.
Well, there it is.
Well, there it is.
The light is back on. We're all good.
Mm-hmm. We are.
That's right. You guys never would know we were haunted if we didn't tell you or what was going on in the background.
You couldn't see it, but we had to make those adjustments.
Yeah, you know? Avast had to move to the left and just turn on the light.
Turn on the light, move stage left. But the summary there, proper, looking extremely good.
Yes.
Very, very good on Zarya. Outplaying Edison, outbuilding Edison. And on top of that, I mean, part of it is it's very clear that Edison is not necessarily comfortable. Maybe it might not be necessarily his Zarya mechanics, but the actual utility of Zarya play, making sure those bubbles are going out at the right time for Ion. Because you see on those first pushes a lot where the bubbles are going out a little too early or a little too late, and then Ion is losing too much health, losing too much barrier, and is just getting pressured afterwards, getting bashed, getting focused.
Well, I think that's what happened on that last Volskaya point A push where Ion gets obliterated. It's like, well, if your shield's not ready to go, if your shield's been used on something improper, guess what? They're just going to speed into you and remove your Reinhardt. That's how it works. And the problem there, and why the point B was so terrible for GC Busan, is that, look, they didn't just lose point A, they got whacked on point A. Like, nothing went well for them there.
They evaporated.
Yeah, and the problem is that means you don't have to wait for respawns. You can just go. And they did.
O2 looking extremely strong right now.
Yeah.
But we are going to be moving on to a break right now. We'll be right back with our, I think that's, what is that, our third?
That was our third map. It's going to be our fourth map
of the series.
Yep. Be back soon. After a shaky start, O2 Blast has been looking very good here in our first match of the day, up 2-1 over GC Busan Wave. And now it's going to come down to a score at Rialto to see if things can be turned around and go to an all-decisive map 5.
Yes, and this is where GC Busan, they need to turn around, like you said, take it to this map 5. And so far, GC Busan Wave, we talked about how their roster didn't really change very much moving into this next season. And yet, they've been losing a lot of the synergy war, a lot of the frontline synergy war, in terms of how you use your bubble, how you use your armor pack for your Brigida. It's clear that there is some disconnect there between pretty much the front line and the back line of GC Busan Wave.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where sometimes it does happen in this meta, but one thing I'm going to note here is that because they did seem comparatively a lot more comfortable on control, I think that if O2 is going to win the series, they need to finish it out now.
Yes.
I think this goes to another control. It goes to a situation where Edison can start playing and flexing on things a little bit outside the normal 3-3. I don't think it ends well for O2. So their win condition right now, finish out Rialto strong. Do not let this go to a map 5.
No, definitely not. You don't want to be in a position where Edison's flexibility can come into play. No. Where, I mean, maybe GC Busan Wave feel a lot more comfortable is on that control matchup. O2 Blast. So not just O2, they're O2 Blast.
Yeah, O2 Blast.
O2 Blast.
They blast.
Definitely want to be, they blast. They definitely want to be finishing up here on Escort. And I mean, I don't think I can keep quite, we can't go crazy yet, but proper.
Yeah.
Looking extremely good.
He's been very solid, and look, the funny thing about 3-3 is that I think we, again, the points was like, yeah, having this player play this role really importantly is so good for the team. The reality is that everything matters here, but Zarya also a very crucial piece where you specifically, given the fact that Grav is often in win condition in fights, Zarya is also one of your biggest damage dealers. When your Zarya is having a good day, just everything else tends to flow just a little bit better.
It does. I mean, that's your main damage dealer right behind that Zenyatta in your 3-3 compositions, and also the Grav is a lot of your, that's pretty much one of your only win conditions.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you're playing the D.Va. The D.Va with Zarya is the Grav. That's the focus. That's how you're getting support ults out. That's how you're setting up combo kills. It's all based around the Graviton Abound, the Zarya.
Yeah, not only that, I mean, also just bubble management in general, right? You are also the lifeguard, so to speak. Is that, are you aggressively diving my Reinhardt? Let me throw out a bubble and make it so that your Reinhardt dies instead. And it's all these mini interactions that happen very quickly, and why Zarya is so vital. But to that entire point, Proper been looking really good here so far. So it'll be interesting to see what changes, if anything, from both teams as we head into the canals of Rialto.
And Rialto, our escort map, our fourth and final map of the series. O2, they've been looking very strong on maps that aren't Control so far. So I'm hoping that they, I'm hoping. I don't have any hope. I really,
you don't have any hope.
I mean, well, that sounds worse than it should.
Yeah, that just sounds very grim.
I'm trying to say they are hoping.
You know, the Avast I know always has hope. I don't know if this deal with the Poltergeist is just like, you know, I don't know, man.
I'm full of hope and spirits here on Spooky Cast Green Contenders.
You've changed so much over the last hour. I don't even know you anymore. But as we move in, O2 Blast, take a look setup here. They're not going to be changing a whole lot. It is 3-3 GC Busan Wave. Also, likely to be 3-3. The Hanzo at best just going to be scouting here, and no, not even that.
Nope, just 3-3, pretty standard. Ion, though, potentially going to be on the Winston instead of this Reinhardt, which does change the dynamic of the matchup. And he is. He's going to be rolling out on this Winston. So, GC Busan Wave, they're going to be looking to fight a little bit less heavily on cart and more for those engagements and then controlling the high ground with their Winston.
It's also going to be about opportunities that Ion can find here. And all right, he's not going to have HL Torah. Dives in immediately, gets booped as he goes on in, but they still use the isolate Villain. Villain in real rough shape, can't sustain, ends up falling. And even though they lose Daydream in the process, that is a worthy trade. It's going to give GC Busan Wave a huge advantage in territory now.
And right now, that's going to be off. You're picking up Arrow. GC Busan Wave just moving forward. Despite not being strong on that cart presence, when you're playing the Winston, you don't have that shield, you don't have that Reinhardt hammer. They were able to isolate Villeneuve, pick him off there at the end, and now O2 Blast are having to come back into the point.
Edison almost got chunked. He was really aggro there, and that would have put an end to that push.
That would have, as the rest of O2 Blast filtering in here. Joy already 75%, but that's going to be Alpha taking out Arrow again.
Really, really tough now for O2 Blaster. Down your Brigida early. You've done 0 damage to the enemy team. And now you have to ask yourself, do you want to delay here 5v6? They're going to go for it, but man, this is going to be so tough. GC Busan Wave, they're not even phased at all. Just rolling into O2 Blast. And O2, they're burning through support ults here. They're going to force some commitment from GC Busan Wave, but they get the Brigida in the middle of it. And it's a good counter engage. O2 Blast able to find a way out of a very tough situation.
A little too late as well. Fielder popping that Transcendence. The cart's so close to being capped, but a little too late. Not able to save GC Busan Wave. And that was an early pickup onto Alfie despite him getting those early frags. And that is what sort of the power of first for Rialto is the spawn. The defender spawn is very close. You can commit to a defense there, even if you're down a player, as long as you have ults up.
It is, but man, that's the type of thing you go back to VOD review. It's going to come back to haunt GC Busan when they look at that, because that's something. They had an edge.
They need to be much more aggressive there. I mean, they had the pick. They had forced the Transcendence early. You don't have to fear retaliation quite as much. Just move forward. You have the better health pool.
Edison again getting chunked very early in this fight. Very common theme. Takes a lot of damage. Self-destruct going to be out here early for GC Busan. And no, they lose the baby D.Va right after. They get nothing off the self-destruct. And O2 Blast, they saw the self-destruct coming in. They didn't blink. They just rolled in.
Interesting choice from GC Busan Wave to engage with the D.Va bomb, but not combo it with Primal. Ion holds on to the Primal, doesn't try to get any sort of displacement or move the barrier of Villeneuve. So now they're able to, O2 Blast were able to retreat behind the shield, play tight. Krong picks up free as he's remeching. And that's just going to be O2 Blast just playing tight, playing together, getting that pick. So interesting choice. GC Busan Wave needs to be comboing those a little bit better because they don't have any combo now. They don't have the D.Va bomb for Edison's grab.
It's going to be very tough, and Edison, see him being a little bit more passive here, not a far out. He's been getting chunked on every early opening, but now they move in. They see Villain getting pretty low. Villain is going to drop Shatter. He does under pressure, but it's enough. He knocks down Ion. They're able to finish off Ion early, and now O2 Blast. They drop a grab. They move on in, and off of that early pressure, Villain still finds a good Shatter to win the fight for O2.
Good Shatter as well. And even though Edison drops the grab when there is no combo up for GC Busan Wave, that was actually a great play because both support ults are now gone for O2 Blast. So GC Busan Wave will be moving in with 3 of their own. They should be able to roll over the front line, especially with Ion swapping over to this Reinhardt. It should be a full-out, very aggressive push here.
Well, they start out the rally, and it does not appear to be very chilled. They self-destruct, not going to do anything. Shielded off by the Zarya. Arrow already down. GC Busan Wave, they take your advice. They go, we'll just run at you, and we're going to make it work. Going to be point A heading to GC Busan Wave, but they did have to use quite a bit for that.
They did, but they take first, and getting first is more important than saving your ults. You definitely need it. So there, Edison, despite what looked to be a questionable grab on first, was actually a giant brain grab because it removes those support ults entirely from O2, allowing GC Busan Wave to re-push, use their support ults, use their better health and sustain to just roll over the front line of O2.
GC Busan now moving forward. Payload still have to make up for lost time. Grab going to be used early here by O2 Blast proper. Getting awfully low. Villain in the fray of things.
Great
here. Hold on, Shatter. Daydream off into the brink. And it's GC Busan Wave still making it happen despite the boop.
Strong Shatter there from Ion as well. Keeping O2 on the ground, allowing them to clean up. Because look, O2 Blast had both their support ults, but they couldn't use them because of the Shatter.
Tough situation, but given where the payload is, O2 Blast is going to have a chance for a really good hold here in the moment. It's going to be up to Edison to do, basically get a good grab, drain out the support ults, and then they have to disengage.
Well, they have combo, so they can look to try to use combo as well, because combo does beat double support ult still as long as you set it up properly.
See how they want to go about here. They're moving for it. Grab going to be dropped here early. Self-destruct. Oh, Free got stunned. Free couldn't get the self-destruct off in time. And yet it might not matter. Arrow still falls even with the delayed self-destruct in the middle of the fight. And it's still perfectly okay for GC Busan.
And Ion just moving forward here. Is he going to drop the Shadow on these supports? I don't think so. Wouldn't be wise. He's not. Just trying to zone them out. So great job from Free as Ion. He's going so deep. He's looking for these frags. The rest of GC Busan way behind him. That's going to be second now. So strong engagement. They weren't able to get the combo perfectly, but Free just getting one frag there, followed up with Ion's charge, means it's open.
Yeah, and I mean, the one thing that was really nice about that engage too, I'll just say for the O2 Blast side, it was a good stun on Free. It just, the rest of the fight didn't work out.
No, it did not. Villeneuve's Shadow was about the best you could hope for. We're not getting a 6-man because it keeps the D.Va out of the fight for a very long time.
So GC Busan moving up, Ion holding on to a Shatter. They've made up quite a bit of time here. They can start feeling okay. They're winning the shield battle war pretty decisively. Villain in trouble, hammer dropped. Oh, absolute beauty. And that's what happens when you lose your shield health that early in the fight.
And we talked about these teams are so keen. They're so aggressive on Reinhardt barrier. They're looking to remove it at all chances. It's really tough for both main tanks in this matchup to keep their barrier health very, very up. Running Vic Rectangle Man, not having used the rectangle.
Yeah, you know, it's kind of his thing, so to speak. Edison, though, holding on to the grab. Just going to drop. No, doesn't drop it here just yet. Waits. Now decides to throw it on in there. GC Busan Wave diving on in. Transcends up for the defense O2 Blast. Not enough to keep Arrow alive. And again, dominant positioning here from GC Busan Wave. They win the fight. And this is going to be a decent time from Rialto, despite what was a very, very tough point A.
That was a tough point A, but I mean, they brought it back, and Edison also looking much stronger.
Yeah. Right
now, he's still not necessarily doing the most damage. He's not necessarily outbuilding proper still, but his grabs are looking good. He's setting up the combos better. That grab on first, despite not being the best in that matchup, it was a really smart grab, like I had talked about, because it removed the support ults for O2 Blast, allowing them to push for free in the next fight.
It definitely worked out there, to put it mildly. And now GC Busan Wave again. All they have to do, if they get through Rialto here, from what we've seen earlier in the series, they're definitely much more comfortable in control. So O2 Blast not only needs to have a good attack here, but ideally get a little bit of time bank advantage as well, because if they let GC Busan back in, if we go to a map 5, I think the tone of the series just goes very much against them.
It does, for sure. GC Busan Wave now, maybe feeling the heat up against the ropes a little bit. They're down in the map score for the series. They're in a game mode that O2 Blast are maybe looking a little more comfortable on. So they have to be feeling a little bit of heat now. Rolling out pretty standard 3-3 for GC Busan Wave. The Reinhardt 3-3. Pretty meta-centric. And O2, you know, Krong just rolling about?
Generating infinite power right now.
He's
That's how
that infinite power machine.
Infinite power machine.
Hammond is the key for renewable energy.
Yeah, clearly life is a lot better in the future. You just put a hamster in a ball and have him spin.
Yeah.
Can't do that today with our technology.
No, you can't.
Impossible.
It's simply not available yet.
O2 Blast, though, getting ready to come out here on the attack, and we'll see if it's going to be a quick one. Proper.
Double sniper.
Yeah.
Proper and Arrow, both on that Widow Hanzo.
I really love that someone named Arrow is playing Hanzo. It's very thematic, even if it's about to be swapped from the looks of it.
Yeah, more than likely they'll be swapping back to that Brigitte, to that Zarya. And look how aggressive GC Busan Wave are holding here, because it is this Ryan mirror matchup. So you might as well fight them as early as possible here on this choke point leading from spawn.
And this is dangerous. You don't want to be lingering on that bridge for long. That's how people get booped into the water. It's not a great feeling, but already pressure coming in. Ion eating a lot of damage, having to back up just a bit. But same with Villain. Villain also got very low for that. So look at that, Krong overextends, going to get demeched. And now he's probably just going to sacrifice all his Diva ult charge by swapping.
As Joy picks up a great dink as well. That headshot onto Fueler, I should say, picking up Joy. And that was a good bash from Alpha D, by the way. Krong, he went forward to try to support Villeneuve, and he gets bashed, discorded, and immediately burned out of mech.
Meanwhile, for O2, Krong does decide to go for the quick swap. He also got jumped in, but just went for the quicker vote. Loses all Diva progress. Ion, raw shatter, not going to get much of anything.
Losing the Ryan game there.
I think he thought the bash was coming in for Brigitte. It didn't happen. He had faith, and that's what happens when you have faith. GC Busan, though, still in the game, still going to be backing up a bit. Edison getting eaten a little bit of damage there, but he's very close to a grab.
Both Zarya's extremely close here. However, no combos for either team just yet. Free is a little bit closer, though.
Now, rally going to be used here. GC Busan Wave looking to go back in. Ion under heavy pressure. Edison going to drop the grab under pressure, but here comes a shatter from Villeneuve. It's going to be enough. No, Barry coming up for GC Busan Wave, still very much in the fight. Barry up for O2 Blast. Rain's going to have to use it. He needs to drop the beat. And sooner rather than later, gets armor packed. And no, he's not going to need to use it. Very good timing there. They figured we still had the fight anyways, and that was scary. That was extremely scary.
Daydream dropping that beat in the grab, looking like he was going to keep his team alive, but the focus fire onto Ion was far too much for O2 Blast, as O2 Blast are going to get... There's still time for GC Busan Wave to recontest this, by the way. They only have one on card. O2 Blast only has one on card.
And here's a key for GC Busan Wave to go in. Don't let anyone get knocked off to the side into the water as you move in. Self-destruct can be used aggressively, or O2 Blast connects, gets Fielder out of the fight. And that should be enough for O2 Blast here. You get the early two, and GC Busan Wave, they might try and delay a bit, but it's not enough manpower left for point A.
There's not. They did invest some of those ults capped up there at the end, but still a pretty fast point A time, especially in comparison to GC Busan Wave.
Okay.
But I mean, they won't be able to. Ion won't be able to just stagger himself, if anything. He was caught in those split spawns. Arrow dancing on point, having a good time.
Well, you know, he saw the Youngjing highlights. He goes, how do I prevent myself from just getting away from the payload? I'm going to dance.
And probably the most important part moving into this next fight as well is Proper. Almost a grab, Joy, a Transcendence. So they have two key ultimates here for O2 Blast to win this fight convincingly.
Oh, already super early pickoff on the Rain. He was a little bit aggro, looking for a bit of cheekiness, already down, and now GC Busan Wave working with a very strong man advantage. Oh, but they throw it away. They get caught. The grab coming in from O2 Blast, more than enough. The fall through is there, and early advantage or not, GC Busan Wave throwing that one away.
And Villeneuve using that shatter while they were in the grab. Edison trying to get them, but the combo not good enough because they had no displacement. Ion was gone, Alpha U was gone. They didn't even have Daydream either. There was no way to displace the barriers of O2 Blast for that combo for GC Busan Wave. So they have nothing moving to the next fight, though O2 Blast will have the Diva Bomb.
GC Busan moving back out. They need to buy more time here on point B if they want to protect their time bank advantage. O2 Blast just gonna open up again. Raw Diva Bomb to the back, connects, gets Daydream out early. They're trying to focus down Villeneuve. They're gonna do just that, and it's actually not a very good trade for O2 Blast at all. A little bit too aggro, and GC Busan Wave able to punish even with the early casualty.
But that's really the sustainability of GC Busan Wave. They're coming back with Fielder's Transcendence. They had that up ready to move, which just allows you. I mean, Joy didn't have anything. They didn't have either support ult yet for O2 Blast, so they just can't win that frontline war.
Well, O2 Blast, how do you engage this here now that GC Busan Wave has had a time to catch their breath?
Well, they're looking like they're trying to, I mean, both teams posturing on this high ground. O2 Blast here, they're going to be trying to duel for it. GC Busan Wave holding very close to the doors. because you really want to be approaching from high ground if possible, because this particular position on the high ground is so strong for the spam for GC Busan Wave.
Well, you can choose where to dive down. They dive on proper, but he just drops the grab immediately. Daydream Rain both out of the fight. Neither team feeling the beat anymore, but the counter grab coming in from Edison. Working out a little bit better here for GC Busan Wave, but they can't lose the Wright. A nice shield on the Ion. The shield on the Ion, well timed, keeps him alive. So low HP, yet still around. Backing up, not anymore. Finally focused down. The Transcendence just coming up a little bit
late.
late.
Shatter for Villeneuve. He's so low, he's not able to drop it. He does actually drop it. Does not get a lot of value, though. It is blocked by Bubbles, by Alfie's shield on Brigida. So despite them picking up, despite O2 Blast, I should say, picking up Ion, the pressure on the Ion, they committed so much manpower into that they could not win the post fight.
Well, the thing that was really good there is just Edison's bubble going on to Ion there. Yeah, he eventually fell, but he lived so much longer because of the timing on that.
It is an O2 Blast now. They are run out of steam for the most part. They have to get an opening here now. Rain and Joy coming up on the support ult, but still no grab. Only the bomb for Krong. GC Busan Wave, though.
Edison's close.
Edison's been building much faster this series.
Edison has really turned the series around for himself relative to the previous two maps. He's been looking much stronger here. Now, GC Busan Wave moving forward, rally up, Ion, just seeking out the Earth Shatter as Edison.
Smart disengage from O2, by the way, because they recognize they were trying to set up the Shatter. A lot of shield presence onto Villeneuve, and so they just run away from the rally.
Oh, Proper almost down. Proper getting a lot of damage over the top. GC Busan Wave saying, you know what, this looks good enough, we're going to go in. They drop the Shatter, get absolutely nothing. O2 Blast countering in, Transcendence back the other way. Proper dropping the grab under pressure. Barrier, though, is there. O2 Blast still in it at the self-destruct, catches Daydream. Well played by O2 Blast.
And Free not being able to bomb there, so important. That does ensure that there was no cleanup. The barrier keeps all of O2 Blast alive. Krong gets more value. And look how aggressive Proper is. He's trying to get ult charge on these split spawns, on these forward spawns of GC Busan Wave.
Now note here for O2 Blast, they are very much under the gun here. A minute 3 is not much even to finish out the map, and they will be setting a slower time. And again, remember the stakes. They do not want map 5.
Yeah, they will be setting a slower time, but as long as they can complete, that's strong for Rialto. Rialto has been shown so far to be sometimes a tough map to complete.
GC Busan Wave, meanwhile, more than content to just hold up here, right over the payload. Rally, going to be used. Here comes the self-destruct up here from Free. Over the top, doesn't look like a great position. In fact, gets very little, but on the rotation, they almost catch Krong, but they're going to heal him up. Krong is going to live. Low. That's such a big swing point in the match.
It is, and now Joy has this Transcendence Proper as well, has the grab up. Right now, Ion, he's their only counterplay until Fielder gets this trance for this upcoming push for O2 Blast. They're moving up high ground, trying to clear it, looking for the engage.
Graviton going to be used. O2 Blast feeling renewed, reinvigorated. Edison going to fall off the grab. It's such a solid engagement. O2 Blast easily dispatching GC Busan Wave, but GC Busan, they should have at least time for one more good defense.
They do. They have time for another defense, and also with the grab out for Proper, that means their transfer fielder is a lot more free to be much more aggressive. They can try to catch something. They can try to force ults early because Daydream is close to that beat.
It's going to be the final fight here, one way or another. GC Busan Wave looking to force map 5, coming on out. Villeneuve holding on the Shatter. They get Edison early. Villeneuve going to get gooped around. Good positioning and potential for a Shatter. Shatter coming in on the other side, knocks down one. Both teams 5-on-5. Villeneuve drops a Shatter zone. Gets plenty of it in the moment. O2 Blast not done here yet. We're looking like extra rounds right now.
It is definitely looking like extra rounds. The delay coming out for GC Busan. Alfie dropping that rally. It's over now. Daydream, he's coming back with the beat.
Edison, he got grabbed. Hang on. It's not quite over yet. Last ditch effort here from GC Busan. They get the grab. They've gotten the Mei back out. Alpha Evo down. O2 Blast still well positioned. Proper just needs to not fall here. Going to be getting healed up in the back. O2 Blast still everything okay, but this is a very nice last moment contest from GC Busan Wave. Much hardier than what we usually see.
It is, but the point presence is too strong for O2. Joy is there, Proper is there, building ults. The Discords are so strong. Fielder had swapped the delay for the Mei, so they didn't have Discord, didn't have heals for that. They were just hoping to get some sort of, maybe just push them off the point there.
So guys, we're gonna be taking a super quick break before extra rounds. Hang on. And we told you, it would be really quick. I'm not even sure if you guys missed us. It was that quick, but we're getting back in.
We had to change the incense out for the poltergeist in this house.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's getting pretty grim here. Unfortunately, we don't have Bill Murray around to come in and ghost bust. So I don't know. It's a little bit grim. But you know what? Forget about our spectral issues, because right now we have ourselves a match. O2 Blast very much fighting to end this now to prevent a map 5. And it's going to be their attack coming up first.
It is. And now, you know, they did manage to cap with... they did manage to cap, which is the important part. They have a minute now. It is an escort map, so O2 Blast on this first offense. They really want to close it out here. ZP, we talked about this, but they've been looking much stronger on these game modes than they did in that first control.
They've been gaining in strength for sure. And now GC Busan Wave on the defense.
Knowing not to give them any space.
Yeah, fighting for the map 5, and already O2 Blast just charging on in, not really wasting a lot of time. They almost pick up free as a result, so a lot of ground being given up here already by GC Busan.
There is. Both teams, though, still relatively equal. No clear advantages yet. Some space given up for GC Busan Wave. Playing on the high ground is O2 Blast. They're trying to rotate their tank line onto high ground. It's going to be Krong just pushing the cart.
Already, they go for the bash, but it was a very nice shield onto Ion there. But now the shield is down. He's still getting focus fired. Oh, just displaced. Really nice stuff coming from O2 Blast, but Reinhardt's down on both sides, and GC Busan taking better advantage of this mindless fight.
Right now, O2 Blast, they have to be leaving. They have to be leaving right now. They got the D-Mech.
They can't leave.
Free.
They can't leave.
Oh,
the problem is, it's 5 seconds.
They
have to come back in. They don't have the luxury of leaving.
Rain
the luxury is gone. And they
Joy, he won't get trance. It's over. That's it. That's as far as it's going.
Yeah, and very solid defense. And you know what that means? GC Busan Wave now looking like potentially the front runners in the series, because I gotta tell you, we've seen this situation plenty of times before. The odds of this being a first point hold coming in extra rounds, very minimal. With
not just the first point hold, but not even the most ideal position to first point hold. It's right here on this. This pretty much what was, I guess, what we call the second choke point of first. There's like 3 different chokes for this particular first of Rialto. And it's really tough to win, because you also, as defense, have to ensure you don't lose the high ground battle at the same time or the flank war. You're fighting 3 different angles.
Yeah, this is going to be very, very tough. Although, you know, the reason why we set these stakes is that this is what we're dealing with. But if O2 Blast is able to put together a defense that stops GC Busan Wave here, I am going to get noise complaints, because it is going to be just incredibly exciting.
I mean, we have seen some incredible holds already so far. I mean, just to this last week, or past week, I guess, in Overwatch League, we saw that incredible, amazing defense from Seoul on Numbani first. We've seen some miracle defenses happen. I don't think the terrain and the particular cap for Escort Hero Rialto is forgiving as the Numbani first was for Seoul, but it's very possible.
Very interesting. We'll see just where this goes. O2 Blast, definitely a make or break moment from here. GC Busan Wave, they have to be feeling good about the momentum they've set up here. They only have a little bit to go, 2.5 minutes. We'll see how they do.
Mirror matchup, both teams running this 3-3. O2 Blast have to make a choice. Do we hold close, fight them early, or do we back up and fight them in the second choke?
I think it's one fight territory no matter what. I think they have to back up, take the better defensive setting, but it's also not a great defensive setting. It's just like, it's from worse to bad, so to speak.
It is. Right now, GC Busan Wave, they have all this time. They're going through the flank side, trying to catch anyone on the rotation.
They're going in on it, over to the right. Now, moving in.
Arrow
They're really low.
Goes to the bash.
So is GC Busan Wave at the time, but it still works out. They get Arrow down, already getting the pickoffs they need. And O2 Blast, they're not going to live the dream here. They're not going to get the crazy defensive hold. The terrain just not supporting it. We are heading to map 5 in GC Busan Wave. Now getting to go to territory that should be quite a bit more comfortable for them here.
And that was Arrow, I think, being a little over-aggressive there on the Brigida. He was bashing. He was moving forward while he was low HP.
Yeah, and again, I don't envy O2 for how they had to defend that there, where they just choose a good defensive ground. Wait, you don't have one. They basically needed GC Busan Wave to beat themselves, and that simply wasn't happening.
No, it was not. I mean, the time bank, the statistics just weren't with them. They had to roll a 20,
and
they got a nat 1.
You know, I didn't even realize you knew D&D references. I did not know this part.
D&D.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have. I don't play it often. I don't play it that often, but I've played it.
That genuinely surprised me. Like, wait, he just made this reference? He all right.
That's crazy.
A little bit of respect. You gained a little bit of affinity.
I've gained respect.
Yeah.
My respect points have gone up for UZP.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm just assuming you're a guy that doesn't watch anime. I thought that
Well,
D&D
I
was
mean,
off limits to
D&D
you.
and anime are very separate things.
You know, oftentimes they do get linked. They do.
Well, I mean, I guess.
But that's neither here nor there. We got ourselves a map 5.
We do. And it's a map 5 that O2 Blast did not want because they didn't look great on control.
No.
They were hoping not to make their way back there. And after what was a relatively tragic offense of Rialto, and just not the perfect defense, which is what they needed to stop GC Busan Wave there. Right now, GC Busan Wave taking them to that map 5. Should be waiting for them to get in. And I think right there, Edison showed up.
Yeah.
He showed up a lot better than he had been in the previous series. And that's what they needed. They needed Edison. They need that primary damage dealer of that Zarya to pop up for GC Busan Wave.
And it wasn't just he was popping off in terms of damage dealt, good grabs or otherwise. We also saw some really good shields coming on where Ion got into some pretty sticky situations. And guess what? The bubbles were on point where, bear in mind, it's not always about saving the Reinhardt, but buying an extra 5-6 seconds in a fight, that means it's 5-6 seconds that your backline isn't getting obliterated.
It is. That's so important.
And it's more time for you to equalize and make sure things are in a good position. So definitely ideal there. But guys, we are going to go to a break. When we come back, the thrilling conclusion of the first match of the day. So it is a trend that transcends regions for me and Avast here, where our first day casting of the region, we go to map 5 on the first series. Why not?
We're back, baby.
Map 5. No Fusion University involved, but instead 2 absolutely great teams here in Contenders Korea. And I got to say, GC Busan Wave, able to fight things back after O2 got a lot of steam in their favor going back to maps 2 and 3.
And I think it's really important as well, on top of GC Busan showing up, Edison in particular showing up on Rialto right there, is O2 looking strong.
Yeah.
And it's the majority of their core, minus Proper, was the same team that was playing last season, which did not have a great group stage at all. They didn't even make playoffs.
No.
So it's very important to note that they're looking a lot more comfortable in the 3-3, especially with Proper being a really huge addition for them.
No doubt about it. And now, of course, we go to Control, where, don't forget, too, is that even if, as we say, GC Busan Wave had an advantage in the first Control map, and even if it is their thing, Control maps are very variable. I would say that it's Control and Assault that we see the most variability in all of Overwatch in terms of what teams are going to win. So we don't exactly know what's going to happen, although, again, thinking of what we saw from GC Busan earlier, if we see Edison flex to a McCree or go a little bit off the beaten path, which you can do and get away with in Control depending on the stage, would not really surprise me.
It is. And also maybe O2 need to warm up a little bit. Maybe O2 Blasters need to warm up a bit in this series. You don't always start out very hot. You could start out very cold. You know, your comms aren't there. Your play isn't there. You're just not hitting your shots. So right now, O2 just looking to move into this Control map versus GC Busan Wave on map 5.
No.
Both teams looking to cinch it out, to clinch it out.
And of course, don't forget here is that in these divisions of 8 teams, every matchup very much matters. Obviously, it's week 1, and you can lose in week 1 and you can bounce back. But look, these are the matchups where you go back and look at your season, you think, wow, this week 4 matchup wouldn't be nearly as stressful if we just done what we needed to do back in week 1.
Yeah, with those 8 teams, every matchup is extremely important. And also every map. I mean, there's just such a limited amount of so much limited amount of matches, so much less number game that you're playing. That you have to make sure that you're playing your best, performing your best every series.
Now it is going to be Lijiang Tower that we're heading into here, and Lijiang, certainly for 2 of its stages, are stages that lend themselves to at times breaking away from the 3-3 path. It's something that happens pretty often.
It does. I think Lijiang, I mean, you have some variability. I mean, you have Control Center where you can see a much more standard 3-3 setup. You can even see Maze, Junkrats, things like that. And then you could also have, some dive-centric, some Sombra-centric maps on when you see Garden, you see Night Market. It's a lot of open space.
Yeah, so I kind of had a quick glance over there where I thought I heard a knock on the door. I did not hear a knock on the door, right? That was not crazy. I don't think it was. I think it was like the refrigerator creaking or something.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Okay, well, if you didn't hear it, then there was probably no knock on the door. We're fine.
Could have been the haunting.
Oh, why do you have to say that? Oh man, now I'm not worried about neighbors. I'm just worried about the paranormal. Thanks.
Well, one of them you can't really do anything about, and the other one you can. So that should give you some confidence. Which is the real question. That is the real question. Don't leave it open-ended.
We are gonna get into it. It is Lijiang Tower. And take a look at GC Busan Wave, where we're wondering, would we see any craziness here? This would be the stage for it, and instead, it's going to be a 3-3.
3-3, but the Reinhardt-Winston matchup.
Yeah, it's Reinhardt-Winston, so we are going to get a little bit of variability between the 2 teams.
And right now, GC Busan Wave are going to look for the first engage because that is where the Winston allows them to do so much pressure onto Krong.
A lot of early damage going in. O2 Blast just getting out-rotated, out-focused early on. And this is just high aggression coming in from GC Busan Wave, and it's very similar to what we saw back at the very beginning of the series.
And Ion's bubble, they're able to split the team, isolate Krong, get a lot of damage early on the D.Va, means that O2 Blast has to split its resources and can't help out Villain there, can't help Villainio.
And what's important here, too, is that this is a stage on Lijiang where environmental pressure is a thing. Ion at 60%, Primal Rage, very good value here relative to many other stages.
Especially with all the environmental hazards on the map. Primal, a very, very good ult. Here comes O2 Blast. Moving on the point. Proper, though, already having grab.
Already Joy down immediately. It's such a clean dive coming in from GC Busan Wave. Ion just getting maximum cleave.
Rain getting 2!
He gets 2, but is it going to matter? Not a lot. It's going to help him get to his ult, but that's it.
I mean, he will be building ult much faster, but I think just as importantly, since we are moving to transition, we're moving to it. Well, actually, no, it's a little bit too slow. I was about to say, we talked about how Zarya energy, talk about how important it is to keep the energy, but since it's not a transitionary fight, it's actually, energy is cheap in 3-3. He'll get it back. He'll get it back pretty quickly.
Energy is free and cheap in the future is what goes on here. But GC Busan Wave holding on to Primal. Grab. Not quite up here for Essen, up for Proper. O2 gonna try and leverage that as they roll in. Grab. Used early. Catching Ion early. Still holding on to Primal. Transcendence out, but Alpha E's down. And now Ion's gonna have to use Primal here. Look for an environmental kill. Gonna get it. Knocks Arrow right into the brink. And now going for the Jug on Zenyatta. Can't quite knock him off, but he gets him a bit out of the battle. He's not able to transcend and get the healing that he's looking for normally because he's thrown to the side. GC Busan Wave can very easily bring this back. It's Ion going back to the outside.
fight now. It's just going to be O2 cleaning up on point proper. So high energy, 85% to another grab. So many ults used for both team. And even the stagger kills coming out here. O2 Blast getting those last remaining stragglers, GC Busan Wave.
O2 Blast able to win the last little bit there, but man, the damage was done. GC Busan at 83%, and now they're going to swap. They don't want to use the Winston here. And why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, Winston is great once you've won that first point, and maybe even if you lose the first fight and you have Primal, but once you're trying to reapproach, you're trying to get those picks, might as well swap to the Reinhardt. It allows you a lot more brawling power on the point, a lot more finishing. Here comes the engage for GC Busan. Grab out.
Grab out from Proper. The O2 Blast is trying to play it in the white room here. Self-destruct connects right off the Brigida bash to the side. Good coordination from O2, and they're going to need to do that multiple times here as Free gets helped to the abyss by Rain.
Well, one thing to note, though, is that was probably the best possible eco push in terms of not using ults for GC Busan Wave, because O2 Blast invested 3. They invested Rally, they invested Grab, and Bomb. So they're going to really hoping that their support ult coming up, Villeneuve, Shatter, are going to get a lot of value here. They need to take these fights aggressively because right now Fielder, the only one with ult. Alpha E coming up, though.
GC Busan, this is where they would like to put this away. Villeneuve, though, holding on to the Shatter. And O2, they're just going to play this back. They're going to make GC Busan Wave head into them, extract maximum time off the cart. And now, still waiting is Villeneuve, holding on to the Shatter, but Arrow going to fall early here. And now it's going to be a Shatter under pressure. Villeneuve having to bring this back. Both Brigidas out of the fight, equalized. And the poke war, not too bad for O2 Blast. They're going to drop the sound barrier, and they push GC Busan Wave back.
Not bad for O2 Blast, but they had to invest a lot of ults again. More ults than they would have liked, because look at this next fight. GC Busan Wave, they still have Rally, they still have Grab, and there's no support ults up for O2. Proper, he is the key here. He is the key. He's 90% to Grab. They need to look to stop the engage, stop them touching point.
Also, it's versus Fielder, right? Fielder could get the Transcends up in time if he just does very good damage. It's going to be hard. Proper should have the edge, but he also has to get the Grab up. 97%, and here we go. Final fight underway. 99% Proper has the Grab ready, but Fielder's getting close.
Solo
use
Grab.
But the Transcendence on time. Fielder able to use it, and even though it's not enough to save Alpha, they're still able to push forward. They deal with Krong. They go in even more aggressively, but it's a little bit too aggressive. Ion a little bit too far out. The rest of GC Busan Wave not with them, and O2 Blast fighting back. Both Ryan's out of the battle, and we are now devolved into a brawl. It's overtime. GC Busan Wave desperately trying to flip this back, but you're gonna get DMAC.
So low, he's being chased, able to get out, but Proper's on point. He's rolling, and that really came down to the fight broke down. Ults were used on both sides, but the point presence was so much stronger for O2 for Proper. Edison was so low, the focus fire on him meant he couldn't commit very hard and use that high energy.
And this is a big turnaround. You think back to how the series started. O2 looked pretty outclassed here in control, but this time around, maybe
they've warmed up a bit.
Yeah, it's your warm-up theory. I think
the warm-up.
The warm-up theory actually holding some weight here, because now you go in the control center. This is not a stage that's usually resilient to running a whole lot of off-meta things. It's very closed in, which means that it's a natural 3-3 playground. Like, it's something where even if the new patch coming out destroys 3-3 in a lot of places, you still might see it here.
Both teams rolling out here. 3-3, both of Ryan's. It is his control center, very enclosed. A lot of values for Ryan's, for Shatters. Looking for this first engagement. GG Busan Wave sort of taking the high ground, the white room as it's called.
Well, they're taking the high ground, but now starting to pressure in. They're looking for Villeneuve. Nice shield on the Villeneuve early. Makes it so that dive in. Can't really focus fire on him. You see Krong going around the outside, trying to look for the Zen. Didn't really like how it was going out.
O2 Blast health so low right now, ZP.
They're very low, but now they're healed back up. All that danger, they just got out of it. Now they have to go in once more. Heavy pressure going on the Proper. Same with Free. And Free about to get DMAC'd here. Early DMAC coming in favor of O2 Blast, and now this is what they're looking for. Now they can go in way more aggressively. They lose Joy! Edison was able to wrap around the other side. It's very much back and forth, but a Ryan advantage.
With Villeneuve taking out Ion, there's no shield that Proper will be stopped by, so it should be a fight win now for O2 Blast. With Villeneuve down, your Zarya gets so much value because there's no shield, no presence, and Ion, or Villeneuve, I should say, decides to drop the Shatter on Free as he's leaving. He's trying to catch those stragglers for GC Busan Wave, but it really came down to the pick onto Ion, allowing Proper to do so much on that.
GC Busan Wave in a tough spot, and even with O2 Blast having options here, this is a fight GC Busan really has to win if they want any real chance of bringing this back.
Rally in from Alpha E, GC Busan Wave just pushing through main here, but O2 Blast kiting it back, running away.
Early grab going to be used, answered by the Transcendent. Self-destruct coming on in, gets two! GC Busan unable to get away from it, and Villain just having a little bit of fun there, a little bit of squats.
However, GC Busan Wave, they're so healthy, they forced the trans out from Joy.
Yeah, they're still in it. The self-destruct coming out from them, not going to do a whole lot. But this could be really good for O2 Blast because they're not decisively losing the fight here just yet. But the D-Mech, okay, that's going to make it a lot less good.
Really the loss on the proper. This would be it. It's just cleanup frags now for GC Busan Wave. Edison was alive that entire time. He had full energy. And as soon as they broke the shield for Villanio once again in that post-fight after the bombs being exchanged, that was it. He was too high energy, too much damage. O2 Blast could not survive.
O2 Blast, though, they start out quite strong here. GC Busan Wave having to invest quite a bit. Now O2 Blast just going to roll right in very aggressively, looking for Ion, and Ion gets a shield right in the nick of time, just able to back on out. And now the fight going a little bit more. Rally's going to be exchanged here. Early pressure on Brigida goes out. Shields already used on both, so now expect Reinhardt to fall soon. Graviton going to be used in from O2 Blast, but the fall through not quite there. And GC Busan, they're still holding on Transcendence Bear. Oh, they layer support all, it's bad, but they still might win the fight. It's just going to hurt them later.
Yeah, that will hurt them later. Right now, that's the fight when they have tons of shield presence. They have the pick on the Krong. O2 Blast smartly leading. They can't really contest this at all while the health is so much better. They have they have fire up, or free, I should say, for GC Busan Wave. Now O2 need to come in, and they need to try to use one ult if possible.
Oh, so aggressive. They know there's no support ults. They just go for the first grab that they can possibly get. Very smart stuff coming out there from Proper.
And that was the right play. Like we were talking, they only need to use one ult if possible. They did use the Transcendence as well to engage, so they used two, but I think trances are cheap right now in the 3-3. As long as your Zen is hitting his shots, you're playing tight, you actually get a lot of value. You get trances very quickly, I should say, because you're just building them so fast.
Smart stuff for Proper, just checking the push, going, I can get a little bit of extra ult charge here. I see you, Diva. I see where you're hiding.
Right now, GC Busan Wave, they need to move to this choke, though, ZP, and it's a tough choke to break through, especially with the Diva Bomb, with the Shatter up row, too.
Well, early Shatter going to be coming out the other way. Ion dropping it. They're looking for a fall through. They're going to get it. GC Busan Wave taking down Rain. They lose Daydream in the process, though. O2 Blast trying to fight it back. They think it's a fight they can win. They invest the rally, but it might have been for naught. GC Busan Wave just got too much off that early Shatter.
However, Proper, he has grabbed. Needs to die quickly because they can come back in. There won't be any support ults up. And this is the bunny hopping of support ults we see here between O2 and GC Busan Wave. They're getting more value, though, because the Proper is grab up now. Joy coming up on a trance. They have a great engagement opportunity.
They do. The match is now in the line for GC Busan Wave. They cannot fall even another time here, or the match is going to be over. Proper coming out the grab. What do they have to do?
Proper needs to come in. They need to be very aggressive. GC Busan Wave need to play split. They need to make sure they can't get O2 Blast, can't get a lot of value from this Graviton. They don't have support ults just yet. Free maybe looks for the engage on the bomb, the defensive bomb.
And I think we're on Free's viewpoint right now because they're looking for the eat of the grab here. Eating the grab would be the most clutch play you can have, and that's why he was zooming in. He thought Proper was about to let the grab go, but no, he's not really in time. The grab connects, and it's a good one. O2 Blast moving forward. The split plan does not work out, and O2 Blast, what a resurgence and what a turnaround, where they started out control so weak earlier in the set, but they get on the Lijiang, and Lijiang so much better for them here. They conclusively finish out the final fight. We'll even get a little bit of delay here. It's looking unlikely. No. O2 Blast starting out Contenders 2019 with a win.
Very, very strong showing for O2 Blast, despite what was not great for them last season with this new roster that Proper in particular. I mean, he's the only addition that we saw in the matchup. Looked great, and their ult usage looked fantastic there. They just had a better gain on the ult economy. They had better view on it. Their perspective was a lot better. They were using it a lot more effectively.
Yeah, and O2 overall very well composed. And again, I'm just going to go with your theory because I think it actually might be the case here where, you know, we just speculate, but this needed time to warm up. Yeah, things got away from them, Rialto, but they put it back together as they went on to Lijiang. We saw much better play across the board, and look, just solid stuff coming out from. And GC Busan Wave, definitely some high points from them as well, but also definitely more weaknesses across the board.
The most important thing for them was Edison needed to start being a lot more effective on Zarya, and he was as the series progressed. But O2 was clear in that first matchup, they weren't prepared to deal with Edison's McCree. No. They weren't prepared to deal with that particular strategy. Maybe they weren't used to playing against that setup, and so they had troubles. And also, they just didn't seem warmed up. They didn't seem like cohesive. They didn't seem like they were hitting their shots. You know, they weren't using their ults effectively. As the series went on, they looked a lot better. O2 Blast having a good first showing, but GC Busan Wave, I mean, they didn't look bad by any means.
No.
I mean, they took it to map 5.
Yeah.
They looked really strong on control initially and also throughout those maps. So it's a pretty good series overall, I would say. I would say that was a great series.
Yeah, it was really good. And I mean, look, one thing you notice here, teams, even in 3-3, even if they've played a lot, you're still going to get mistakes every now and then. Like when you see the double layered support all at the end, yeah, that's an absolute killer, right? Where you go, okay, you've lost a lot of momentum there and certainly hurts GC Busan. But that's also, think about what the players are facing in the moment where you're going, we're going to lose this fight. Everything's decided in a split second. So that's why you get moments like that. But it's also what can decide the difference between the team on top is the small little errors all across where it's not just ults, which are the most visible. It's